Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop, and today I have for you my December 2019 reflection, and you get to see my face. So one of my goals for 2020 is to do more videos where I'm talking to you versus you just seeing my hands. I feel like this is a much more, like, it feels more real and like we can connect when you see my face versus when you're just like seeing my hands move around my planner. In this type of video, my reflection video, it's not super necessary or important that you see my paper, the planner, or anything that I'm using. So that's my shtick. So what we're doing is the December 2019 reflection at the end of each month. I always go through using our reflection insert and kind of process how the month went, look back, and that then will help me set my upcoming month's goals. So usually when I do these videos, I go over my reflection, I kind of show you my mission board and how I did as far as getting the things on my mission board done in my Inkwell Press planner, and then I set my goals for the upcoming month. So since I'm doing this, like showing you my face, what I think I'm going to do here is we're going to go over my reflection. I might kind of go off camera, grab my mission board, go over that, and then maybe also show it to you by doing like a overhead kind of thing. We'll see how it goes. We're just going to see how this works. Okay, so the first part of my reflection I always go over here is memories and highlights. So this is kind of like the wins of the month, things that went good, things that I want to remember. And the way I keep track of this on a weekly basis is I use the sidebar of my Inkwell Press planner, and I use that little section over to the right to just write down each week a few things that I think are memories or highlights for that week, so that when I'm going back and doing my reflection, I can reference that very easily versus having to scan through my full weekly spreads for the whole month. So I would say the three major things that were highlights for December were that number one, we went home to Chicago for the holidays. So Matt and I were like trying to decide if we were going to go home, and really regretted during Thanksgiving break that we did not go home. We always close our shop for the Thanksgiving weekend holiday. We don't do Black Friday or any of that. And we were like, oh, we should go home. But then we're like, we'd rather just kind of relax here in Tennessee. So we opted to stay here at our home, not back home in Chicago. And we were super bored. And we're like, oh, this would have been much better to be with family. So then as Christmas started to get closer, we started to think like, well, let's just pack up the car and go home. Let's go see our family, surprise our family. And we're not going to close the shop. We'll just deal with orders and we'll work all weekends to make up for it, so we can go home and see our family. So that's what we did. So we got in the car, drove the 7.5, 8 hours, and surprised them, and it was awesome. So it was really nice to be home and for the holidays for the first time since we moved. So we didn't spend last Christmas or last Thanksgiving with our families. This is the first time in about 18 months that we'd been home for a holiday. So that was really nice. And I think that's something definitely that you don't realize sometimes you're going to miss as much as you do until you're gone. I really like being home for the holidays, so I'm glad that we finally took the time to do that. Number two is I got my first planner coaching client. So if you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been talking about this concept of planner coaching. It's just something I made up as far as the name of what it is. But essentially what I'm doing is working with people, customers or people interested that are like have a planner, have some goals, have some life management things they need to get in order, and helping them use their planner and come up with ways to use their planner to optimize those things. How do we get their goals broken down? How do we put that in their planner? How do we kind of break down and manage all the different things that are going on in their life? And then also, again, helping them do that not only in a coaching kind of conversational way, but also using their planner. And some people will want me to help them like figure out what kind of products of ours to use, what stickers, what inserts, what can help them optimize their planner to get things done and reach their goals. So I got my first planner coaching client, which was super cool. It was a really fun experience. I really enjoyed working with her, and we're going to continue working together. So that was awesome. The third thing is I also got a new goal coaching client. These are basically the same concept. So one client was a little bit more focused on like planners and like what products to use to make her planner work for her in her life and manage things better. The other client I'm calling a goal coaching client because that was her focus. That's why she came to me, is to help her uncover what her goals are. Well, she knew what her goals were, but to take those goals, those big things, that brain dump page, and break them down into manageable tasks on a weekly basis and figure out where to shift her focus first and how to word things in a way that feel kind of inspiring and productive. So those are my 2 or 3 wins or memories for the month. Then you have so you have the memories and highlights side, and then we have the like accomplishment side. And this is more not necessarily what's the difference between memories and highlights, or memories and highlights and accomplishments? I guess memories and highlights, again, are more, I don't know, guys. I actually don't know if there's a difference between the two. I'm thinking when I made this is funny because now I'm like talking to you guys and I'm like, what is the difference? I guess when you think about memories and highlights, the way I typically do this, maybe that's why I'm feeling a little like, what the heck does this mean? The way I typically do this is I think about memories or highlights are like experiences that happen, like going home for the holidays, going on a hike with Matt, going and doing something with a friend, where the accomplishments feel more like things that were the outcome of some of the action steps that we're putting in place in relation to my goals. So these things are like one and the same for me this month. So the thing I actually put on accomplishments was 6-year anniversary, which should be on highlights. Anyways, see, this is why I usually do these with my hands, not my face, because I like sound and now look like I'm just rambling. Okay, anyways, number 2, the accomplishment is we actually had a really good month sales-wise for December. We beat our 2018 sales numbers, which is awesome because this year has not always been such a great sales, has not been a great sales year for us. Kind of month over month, we've had some, different kind of trends and ebbs and flows. So it was really nice that December ended up being a very great month for us. And then number 3 was I finished a new training program. I purchased a fitness colleague of mine, her and her boyfriend's kettlebell training program, and Matt and I did that this month. We finished it. It was really fun, so that was an accomplishment. Okay. Next section of my reflection is lessons that I learned. So I usually only have 3 here, but I have in each of these categories, but today I have 5. They all kind of probably are going to be like under the same theme. That's always how this goes. So number 1 is stay focused on one thing at a time. And this is kind of like duh. Most of the lessons that I learned that I put down here are pretty duh, like of course. But at the end of the year, always in December, I always feel this like sense of like thinking about how the year went, anticipating what I want to do in the next year. And I feel like my brain gets flooded with ideas. And typically I start working on elements of those ideas in December. So I don't wait till January to like get the ball rolling. And so I started to feel as the year came to a close that I had just had this like influx of ideas, and that I would like wake up in the morning and in my brain I'd start running down these lists of things I needed to do to get this idea done and this idea done. And I just was like getting overwhelmed, not in the sense that it was exhausting me because I wasn't acting on these things yet, but I was just feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so much. So when I say I need to focus on one thing at a time, basically what I'm saying is I've had to really tell myself, Jess, you can only do one thing. Do what's important right now. Yes, there's 17 other things you want to do, but what do you need to get important? What do you need to get done right now? What's the most important? Focusing on that first versus thinking I could do 70 million things in a day, and remembering it's okay. A lot of my deadlines are self-imposed, so I just need to be more realistic and pace myself and know that the only person that's like really pressuring me is myself, and I just need to take things one thing at a time. Okay, so that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is brain dumping is essential. I have a tendency to just like keep a lot of stuff, like I just said, in my head, ideas, goals, things I want to do, see, buy, whatever. And it starts to get hard to keep things straight, organize things when they stay in your head. So when I was setting my goals for 2020, which if you watch the video that I did on my goal setting, you know that I just took a piece of like insert paper and just dumped all my ideas down for my goals. And that really helped. I think when I look at a form, a worksheet that has categories and I instantly have to put things in the right place, I get paralyzed and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. So as long as I can like be just super messy and whatever and just write all over a piece of paper what I want to do, then I can go back and clean it up. So the lesson I learned is when I'm stuck, just got a brain dump. Number 3 is done is better than perfect. This was something I talked about in our Facebook group. And not those exact words, but one of our Facebook group members, Jana, actually pointed that quote out to me, and I thought that was brilliant because a lot of times I get hung up on wanting things to evolve in a certain way, wanting them to look a certain way, and realizing now I just got to put stuff out there. Even like this video, like I'm probably going to sound like a babbling like lunatic or something, but it doesn't matter. I just need to get it out there so that I can build momentum. It's that frozen feeling when you know there's things you need to do, but then you're getting hung up on all the details, that sometimes you just need to put it out there and know that from there you can evolve. You can't evolve first. So done is better than perfect. Number 4 is things are achieved one little step at a time. And this is obviously kind of what I was talking about before, that focusing on one thing at a time. I have always visions in my mind of where I want things to be, ideas I want to implement, and things I want to execute. And I can see the big picture of how I ideally want it to look. And I have to remember that that's not what's going to happen first. And I need to start with the tiniest, littlest baby steps to get to where I want to go. That big things start from humble beginnings or small beginnings. So that was a lesson there. And that lesson number 5 is share more. I've been trying to share more on Instagram stories on our print shop, Knockout Print Shop Instagram, and putting out more than just planner content, and realizing that some of our audience is really interested in some of the other things that I can share, whether it's health or fitness or food or finance. And I was really hesitant to do that at first because I kind of felt like our Knockout Print Shop Instagram had to stay very planner related and product focused, and didn't really know how to weave in like me, as me being the owner and the face of it, and having these other areas of knowledge. So now I've started to put out things like different things related to what Matt and I eat, and groceries and exercise, as a way to show people how to implement some of the things you're trying to achieve in your planner, what it looks like in real life, I guess, if that makes sense. So sharing more is one of the lessons I learned from this month. Okay, so now we get into the habit section. What I've realized is December to me is a month of reflection, and I'm not like uber focused on habits. I feel like I did really well the past 11 months with my habits that I've set every month and the ones that evolved over the year. And this last month, I just kind of felt like, I have a good base, a healthy lifestyle, and I didn't need to be like uber focused on building something new or doing X, Y, and Z and worrying about feeling guilty if I'm not doing it the way I wanted to, or as, frequently as I had set for myself. So I kind of let my habit building, as far as new habits or ones that aren't automated, take a little break. My rise and bedtime, 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. have been great. That's in a routine. I'm just going to continue to implement that. I have realized as it's during the winter with the, obviously shorter days, it's shifting a little bit more to getting up at 6:30, but I know as soon as the days get longer and the sun comes out earlier, sun rises earlier, I think my body will naturally go earlier to like 5:36 wake up time, which is fine with me. I had this like loose idea of a habit that I was going to do what I was calling like movement breaks in the middle of the day, where I was going to get up out of my desk or off my, out of my chair and do some like mobility and stretching, just move around, or just take the dogs outside for a little bit longer than a potty break kind of walk. And that's been hit or miss. And one of the reasons I know that hasn't been great is because I haven't mapped out a good structure to it. And I think that's essential when you're trying to create a habit. If you're like, I'm just going to do a movement break every day. Well, that's great. It's just like this arbitrary thing floating around in the sky that we have nothing to anchor it to. So when you think about integrating a habit, and for me it was this movement break idea, I need to be much more thoughtful about what that looks like in my day-to-day in order to really start to implement it and create a habit, stack it on top of something I already do, whether maybe it's I'm going to do a 5-minute movement break before lunch, and here's the 5 exercises I'm going to do. Having too much unknown around it just makes it not as concrete and as easily actionable. So there's that. So I'm going to keep solidifying this concept of movement breaks and getting this as a habit that's more automated over the next 12 months, but it didn't do so great in December. My social media limits. So this is like something I've been working off and on for the whole year. I have been okay at not allowing myself to be on my phone from 9 until 9 a.m. and then not allowing myself to be on my phone after 8 p.m. So for the majority of the year, that was about, I would say, 6 to 9 months of the year. I'd have to go back and look at my habit trackers. I was pretty on point with that. The last few months, I've not been so great about it. I've been checking my phone earlier than 9 a.m. I'm pretty good about putting it down at 8 p.m. and that allows me to like digital detox before I go to bed. But the morning, I'm feeling drawn to get on my phone as far as like check email and stuff like that sooner. So something has shifted for me there as far as my commitment to it. So I really need to reassess that, reevaluate it, and start finding a new way to execute that for 2020 because I still want to keep some limits on my social media and phone usage. Okay, oh my God, you guys, this video is already 17 minutes long. This is why I shouldn't be allowed to talk to you face to face because now I'm going to just keep rambling. Okay, goals and projects. That's the next section we have here. So it's got a completed and in progress in the next month. So this is where I usually do it in the overhead. I'll show you my like mission board and all the stuff that I accomplished. So I might B-roll over that with this, so a screenshot of that so you can see it. But I did finalize the program for my pilot program of my online fitness group. So I have that going. That was good. I got that finished. I transferred over money for 2019 HSA. I got that done. I started the planner coaching, life coaching, whatever you want to call it. Some things that are still in progress. I need to make set up a system for a new way I want to do my estimated quarterly taxes and saving for that each month, and some different things I need to do with my business finances. What also is in progress is me kind of expressing myself more and being a resource more. So that's in the works, and that's going to be a big part of 2020 for me. Next month, again, is getting the finances in order for the business, figuring out this whole Just brand. What I'm probably going to do, I think, is create a separate channel, Just TV or something like that, where I can share more content that is not necessarily planning related, and then continue with our releases for 2020. That's the next month and months. Last bit is just our gratitude. My gratitude is not going to go over that. We kind of talked about most of that. I rate this month at a 9 out of 10. It was a really good month. It was stressful in a good way. We got incredibly busy. We went home, so we traveled. So there was a lot going on. We were very tired this month. And I'm trying to remember that December, basically from mid-November until about end of February, is our busiest time of year. And we're working longer hours. We have more orders to process. We're also trying to get out new releases. It's insane. And I'm trying to remember this time. So come the slower time of year for us, when we're like, oh my gosh, we're not having any sales. This is horrible. What's happening? That I'm like, no, Jess, come the winter, that's when everything picks back up. And this is just the ebb and flow and the trend of our business. So long story short is just remembering kind of the seasons of life and the seasons of each year for you personally, business, whatever, and knowing that there's some months that are going to be more tiring than others, and you just eventually will find your balance, right? Like Matt and I are doing our best to get enough rest and take care of ourselves during this time where we're working way more hours, and remembering, looking ahead in a couple of months where we're going to have much more free time. So do the best you can. We're doing the best we can now, and just anticipating that we know that this is just an ebb and a flow, and it'll constantly be in flux. So the theme of my word for the month was full. It was a very full month, full of memories, of orders, of getting things going. So it was a very full, good month. I got a lot done on my mission board, and I'll show you that here like I said, I'll pan down and show you the mission board and all the things I got done. I'll show you this sheet so you can kind of see how it looks like when I do this. And I will talk about next my goals for January 2020. Okay, so I have my Makse life planner here for you guys. to reference for my goals for January 2020. So literally right now I'm using like 3 planners, but just to finish up this video and take my December reflection and bring it into January's goals, just to give you an idea of how I do that. So Makse Life has 8 different areas of life. First one being personal. For me, the first thing I'm focusing on for 2020 is getting back to reducing my screen time / social media time. And what that's going to look like for me on a weekly basis is going back to those social limits, or sorry, my phone limits, I should say, screen time limits of not picking up my phone till 9 a.m. and putting it down by 8 p.m. So that's what I'm going to focus on right now before I start chipping away the other layers of kind of getting that back under control. Fun and recreation. I have one local adventure for Matt and I. My mom and dad were so awesome. They got us for Christmas a gift certificate to do one of those like painting classes. It's like, I think it's called like Sip and Paint or something like that. And she knows that Matt and I are minimalists and we don't like things. So she actually thought of this like awesome idea to get us a gift to go out and experience something, which I think is so cool. And we're so excited to do that. So we need to schedule that, and that'll happen this month in January. Work and learning. Right now I'm focused on starting my online fitness program. I have everything pretty much mapped out. I'm getting the app that I'm using for my clients all figured out, and that starts January 6th. So right now I'm really trying to make sure to not go crazy with all the other ideas I have in relation to work and focus on getting that done and solidified and get the ball rolling there so I can smooth all the kinks out with that before I again, go on to my 1700 idea that I have. Family and relationships. So this actually has a kind of a weird one. I have cook for meals. So Matt is like the cook in our house. I'm the one that cleans. So he is typically in charge of cooking our dinners and our lunches. We're at home, obviously 24/7. So we eat 3 home cooked meals per day. And it can be, even though he's really good at cooking and he enjoys it, it can be a lot to have to do by yourself, especially when I'm here. So I'm not as confident with cooking when it comes to mains. I like doing sides, I like doing bread, I like doing all the extra pieces of a meal, but I'm not super confident with baking or making a full meal. So what I've decided to do is I want to at least start by cooking 1 meal per week in effort to help him to improve my skills with cooking and confidence, and just to make it a much more balanced situation. And I even got a cookbook that I'm already loving called a Prairie Homestead Cookbook. I think that's what it is. And Matt and I've been using that, and I want to cook through that whole cookbook this year. So that's going to help me because the recipes are simple and I think I can handle it. All right, so goal for health and wellness. I have a fun colonoscopy scheduled here this month. I want to maintain my rise and bedtimes. This is just a continuation. I pretty much have that like 99.9% automated. I just wanted to note it. And then kind of solidify again, like I talked about that daily movement break. I'm filming this on the 2nd, January 2nd, and I still have not mapped that out yet. I'm kind of taking this week as like the ease into the new year week. So I'm going to say my official start with all of this stuff is January 6th, especially the ones that are like daily habits, because this week just has been kind of a cluster. Spirituality and personal growth, I'm going to go back to my reading daily. I had been doing that almost religiously, but then my library didn't have any of the books I wanted, so I kind of fell off that habit. So I finally had to buy one of the books that I wanted, and that came, and I've been reading, and that's been much better. So I really enjoy reading every day, so that's been good. Financial, I want to make sure I'm doing my YNAB every day. I literally am obsessed with YNAB, you guys, and I call it my hobby. I'm like, I got to get up and do YNAB. Matt's like, we haven't spent any money. I'm like, I don't care. I need to make sure everything's right. So I YNAB daily. I need to finish up the year-end books and our budget with our business, kind of map out all the financials for 2020, personal and professional. That's my financial stuff, goals. And then physical environment, just maintain a weekly cleaning routine. We have a small apartment and we have a pretty good cleaning routine down. So just for home and stuff like that, that's pretty simple for us. Doesn't need much thought. Okay, so that is my December 2019 reflection and January goal setting. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this more face-to-face interaction, that's one of my goals, is to be more face forward in my videos so I can, have a more intimate conversation with you guys than just looking at my hands. So let me know what you guys think about that. What are your goals for 2020? And I will see you in the next one.